Hello and welcome to Autistic FM. My name is Haje. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm your host on this journey. You can subscribe to Autistic FM wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find the transcripts and additional information about each episode on autistic.fm. All right, without further ado, today's guest is Bella. Let's get started with your name and your pronouns.
I go by Bella. I use she, her.
And I'm curious, where in the world are you?
San Francisco, California.
Oh, awesome. So am I. It's a small world. I'm curious, how and when did you realize you might be neurodivergent?
I was diagnosed when I was 4. My mom was really kind of a terrible person, but my aunt was like, she's not talking, so let's go get her tested. So they were like, yeah, no, she's autistic. Okay, cool. So
How old are you now, if I may ask?
32.
So that probably means that you have been navigating the world as an autistic person for most of your life, and including once you turned into a grown-up person, navigating the medical system. What has that been for you?
So a lot of my life has been very traumatic. Let's put it that way. So I'm being raised by my aunt and uncle who did not take a good job of taking care of me, to living in a foster system and so on. But as I got older, I found a lovely person who has kind of been my best friend throughout the journey and has helped me recover a lot and has been very stable in my life.
How did this person show up in your life?
So actually, fun fact, we are celebrating our friendship anniversary today. It's been 10 years since we've been friends.
Congratulations.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. It's so exciting. She's like, hey, today's our friendship anniversary. I went to this really fun Halloween party and not real big fan of parties, but I was invited. And she's like, I like your space helmet because I was wearing this astronaut outfit with like a very dark lens, so you couldn't see me. And so we started talking, and a way to any person's heart is food. So she brought me a pizza and just became friends.
I'm very glad to hear that. And I want to recognize that you're talking about a lot of trauma and a lot of hardship and challenges throughout. Do you feel like those challenges have been harder because of your being autistic?
I would say so. Can't fully contribute everything towards, it's harder because I'm autistic. No one really taught me how to do anything growing up. I didn't really go to school. My aunt and uncle homeschooled me, so I wasn't really around people. So don't really know how it would have been like with other kids around my age group.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of whether that was better for you, or whether you wish it'd been different?
I wish it would have been different. I wish I had a chance to go to school. My aunt and uncle were horrible, horrible people. And I wish I could have had any reprieve from them. So school would have been fun.
Yeah. Where do you find reprieve now?
Home. The movies, I love going to the theaters. Even though I wear my noise canceling headphones there, but I still love going.
Does home feel like your safe place, your safe haven?
Oh, yeah. It's where all my stuffed animals are. It's where my friend is. We live together. And it's where my PlayStation is. So if I want to talk to people, I don't have to interact with them in person. I can play with them online.
Yeah.
And if I get overstimulated, I can just like, oh, yeah, I'm getting tired. I can better navigate that through myself.
Yeah,
So.
beautiful. I have had some pretty sticky situations trying to navigate the medical system as an autistic person. Like I tried to convince them to never call me, for example, and that has been incredibly hard. It's been incredibly hard.
Yeah, no. So I have gone through Medi-Cal, so I've been like in the regular system. Then my friend got me into Kaiser, and that's just been even worse. And so she'll answer my phone for me, and she's like, "Yeah, no, blah blah blah. We told you not to call. Just email." So.
Yeah, no, I had an adventure with Kaiser where I tried to get them to remove my phone number from their system, and they didn't, and they wouldn't, and eventually I kept complaining. I ended up doing a official complaint, and the response to the official complaint was a 12-page PDF, which ended with, "And if you have any questions or further concerns, call this number." And I was like, guys, this is exactly what I was trying to talk about. It is just so, it's interesting, right? It's like we can have a conversation about whether or not autism is a medical condition or not, but
Yeah.
you have needs, medical needs, as an autistic person, right? Whether or not it's associated with autism. But it feels like it becomes so much harder to access. Has that been your experience?
Oh my God, yes. No. So my friend later became my full-time caregiver because I got Social Security disability. Holding down a job was not easy, especially when
Hmm.
you don't have a high school diploma. Most people are like, "Oh, hey, why don't you have a diploma?" I was homeschooled. Oh, okay. So they don't really hire.
Yeah.
That and being overly honest with people at work kind of gets me in sticky situations.
So am I hearing you have had various jobs over the years, but that they didn't really work out?
I've tried. My
Hmm.
longest job lasted a day.
What has that been like for you?
Interesting because to my credit, I tried my best. It's when someone asks me a question and I need them to explain what they mean, and it just gets frustrating because they don't explain it in a way I can understand.
Hmm.
Or when someone's like, breath smells bad, I point it out to them thinking I'm doing them a favor. Like, hey, do you need gum? Or like, do you need to go brush your teeth real quick? And then they get really, really defensive because I thought I was trying to be nice to them, but no.
Can you give some examples of what kind of challenges you've run into? Like what has been hard, what has been challenging about accessing medical care or getting the help you need?
Oh, love this question. I was diagnosed when I was 4. I was re-diagnosed when I was 20 because my health insurance then was like, your 1990 something medical records don't exist anymore because surprisingly enough, they shred them after a certain point of time. Go figure. So was re-diagnosed again. And this time they did the whole level system.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, like, don't understand this, but okay.
Let me jump in for a second to talk a little bit about the levels that we're talking about here. The autism support levels, levels 1, 2, and 3, were introduced by the American Psychiatric Association 10 years ago, in 2013, in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, known as the DSM-V among friends. Now, the levels are pretty controversial. They were introduced to standardize a range of autism related support needs and replace older terms like Asperger's syndrome and pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. I know, super catchy. These were all previously used to describe different types of autism. Now, the levels aim to capture that there's a range of different supports a individual might need based on the challenges that they face in social communication, behavior, and daily functioning. So level 1 generally represents low support needs, and level 3 represents high support needs. But the problem is, this doesn't actually reflect that autism is a spectrum. It tries to reduce the autistic experience to a scale from 1 to 3. But that doesn't make any sense because the autism spectrum could be extremely variable. Like somebody who has low support needs in terms of being able to communicate may have super high support needs whenever they're around loud noises, or vice versa. This scale just really doesn't reflect any of that. And so it's actually not super great. Moreover, in the past, level 1 was often referred to as high functioning, which, you know, that basically just means that you're able to fit into society. That doesn't mean that the person is actually having a good time while they're out in society. So, long story short, the leveling system isn't great, but that's what we've got for now. Hopefully, the DSM-6 will introduce something better, but for now, this is what we're stuck with. Anyway, let's get back to Bella.
So was re-diagnosed again, and this time they did the whole level system.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, like, don't understand this, but okay. And then they lost those records when I got to Kaiser, and they're like, well, we need to do our own assessment. Whatever. I love questions. Let's go. I'm sitting there and I'm talking with this doctor who is literally berating me, like not trying to figure out what's actually happening in my life. He's like literally talking through me. And so I filed a formal complaint and was like, hey, can I get a different provider? Because I don't feel like this is going to go well. And I was talking with my therapist. I'm like, hey, I can guarantee you this is not going well. And she's like, well, he's the only provider we have, which was a lie, but
Hmm.
whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm sitting there talking with him, and finally day comes for the diagnosis, and he goes, I don't have enough information because you won't send me paperwork because I don't believe you didn't go to school. And he's like, well, I want to access your hospital records from when you were a kid. I'm like, what part of most of those are shredded? You're going to get my birth certificate and that's it. And he's like, well, I don't have enough information to diagnose you with autism. I'm like, Interesting. Well, what about my last 2 diagnoses? He goes, well, those can't find those records. So I'm like, okay, well, what if I go outside? What if I find a different provider to do a autism diagnosis? So I did. It's interesting because that paid over it's like $2,000 for that diagnosis.
Goodness.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you're definitely autistic. And he did the whole level thing. He's like, I'm sorry about the level. It's just how we have to do it.
Right.
So he's like, you're level 3 autism. Here you go. Not a big fan of the levels. A lot of the autistic people aren't, but it is what it is for this context. And so I send the paperwork and a Kaiser. I'm like, here you go. And he's like, this isn't good enough. I'm like, what do you mean it's not good enough? So he's arguing with me. I'm like, you know what? You're being biased. He's like, I'm never talking to you again. I'm like, cool. I don't want to talk to you either way. So months go by and they remove my autism diagnosis out of my chart, even though I sent them paperwork. And they're fighting with me. So I'm filing complaints. I'm arguing back and forth. I'm trying to get them to be like, hey, I'm neurodivergent and I need this in my chart. Otherwise, doctors are dicks. And I have seen from when it was out to when it's end how doctors treat people.
I hear you. And it sounds like it's an incredibly frustrating experience. Not only do you know this about yourself, but you've been diagnosed twice and people still won't believe you. What was that like?
Right?
That sounds horrendous.
Exactly. It's a living nightmare.
I mean, you're describing gaslighting on a spectacular level.
Oh, yeah. And it's ridiculous because some of them will still do it. When we talked last week, I was telling you I was doing an epilepsy study, and you see the 180 flip between when doctors notice that you have autism in your chart and when they don't.
And what is that difference? Like, how do you perceive the difference in how you're being treated?
So from the 180 of they don't notice it yet is like an actual human being. Like I'm talking with you and so on. When it's reversed and they notice it, oh, hey, we're here to help take care of you. You're a child now. And it's, can't pronounce the word, but it's like they treat you like a toddler and they try to explain to you like you're a third grader. And I'm like, what is going on?
Right, because until that point, you were a grown up and you were
Yeah.
able to communicate just fine, right? That is fascinating and, horrifying.
Right. And then when you're trying to explain it to them, they're like, no, I know what's best for you. I'm
Mm,
like, am I talking to a concrete slab? What's going on?
yeah, totally. Have you found any doctors or nurses or anybody in the regular medical system that actually understands autism and what your needs are and help kind of adjust their care to what you actually need?
A handful. And it's a very
Mm,
small handful. And it's sad because these are people who spent money and time educating themselves to understand the medical field. And it's ridiculous.
mm.
And so the small handful that I've talked to do accommodate and do treat me like an actual human being. They understand that I have a friend who's my caregiver and helps me with things. So they'll communicate through her because I'm terrible at scheduling.
Do you have like a sense of like how you would prefer to be communicated with, or what kind of concessions you would prefer when you're dealing with medical folks? Or is it actually just I have my caregiver, please work through them because this is crazy otherwise?
So I'll give you a fun story time. So while I was doing my epilepsy study, one nurse, and I've had him twice, and I hated him. And I don't really hate people, but him I could not stand. The
Mhm.
entire time I was there, he was trying to treat me like I was a toddler. He's like, "It's time to go to bed, 8 o'clock," and he would absolutely just sit there and like, "Oh, put your phone down," because he freaks me out. So I was communicating through an AAC device.
Which, all right, let me butt in here for just a moment. An AAC device, we don't actually get into it in the episode, but it's a augmentative and alternative communication device. So these things could be like picture boards where you can point, or apps where you can press a button and it generates speech, or various methods for turning symbols into spoken words, or any number of ways of expressing thoughts and needs and feelings independently when you kind of lose your ability to speak. Now, it is a pretty common thing for autistic folks to go nonverbal for stretches at a time, and that happens in particularly in stressful situations. And so, it seems like a reasonable thing to expect a medical provider to be able to deal with, but what the hell do I know? Anyway, back to Bella.
So I was communicating through an AAC device. I didn't want to talk to him. And he's like, I can hear you talking. Why won't you share your lovely voice with me? And I'm like, that's creeping me out. So I finally got rid of him as my nurse. And another nurse comes in and she treats me like an actual adult. She's like, yeah, no, you can do whatever you want. I'm like, thank you. And
Right.
talking with her like I'm having a conversation with you. She's and having someone else come in like, well, why do you use this? I'm like, because when I'm overstimulated, I needed some other form of communication.
Yeah. Yeah, for
So
sure. I mean, you mentioned you were part of a study, and even if I'm just imagining that in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute, that is in a hospital setting. There's bright lights, there's beeping sounds, there's always hustle and bustle, there's so many voices. Like
mhm.
I am overstimulated just imagining being there, right? Hospitals are like uniquely horrible places to me. Is that true for you?
Oh, absolutely. Hospitals, doctor's appointments, like anything inside of an office building is terrifying. Absolutely horrifying. And I'm like, why? Why?
Right.
When I was there, they had, if you have never done an epilepsy study, they do attach wires and electrodes to your head so they can
Hmm.
understand your brain waves and they like wrap it around. And so it's like wearing a baseball hat for multiple hours. You can like feel the indent still when you take it off. You're like, oh, I'm still wearing it. I still feel like I'm wearing it. And I got out Friday.
Mm.
So, and it's like being limited, like, hey, you got to call your nurse if you need to get up and use the restroom or if you want to walk your legs and stuff like that. But because I'm autistic, they're like, "Oh, she's a fall risk, so we're not gonna help her walk and get around."
Interesting. Is that true for you that you're a fall risk?
No.
That's what I that's what I figured. Like, and I mean, I am probably clumsier than usual, right? I think that comes with the
Mhm.
territory. But being clumsy doesn't mean I'm gonna fall on my face every 32 seconds. Do you feel like anxiety plays a role in this too, or do you not really are you not really an anxious person?
I'm an anxious person. I have medications that help me with my anxiety and my depression. Uh,
Mhm.
so, like, I have ongoing other issues as well as being autistic, right? And so with that comes, okay, well, how do I manage leaving the house? And usually I have my friend who's my caregiver with me and we manage together. I rely on her. She knows I rely on her and she listens to me when I'm like, hey, I'm getting overstimulated, overtired, and so on. And
Mhm.
especially when we're a large group of people, because you've ever gone to a Costco on any day of the week, there's a ton
Yeah.
of people.
Yep.
And it's ridiculous. I'm like, okay, I miss COVID times when everything was lines and like 15 people at a time.
I think you just said something really important, right? I've spoken to a fair few autistic people who are like, COVID was such a horrible time for the world, but for me
Mhm.
personally, it was actually a relief. There was no expectation to ever interact in a lot of the ways that they didn't want to interact. Am I hearing that from you as well?
Yeah. For me, it's perfect because not only did I not have to communicate with people, it was expected of me not to do it
Mhm.
because the fear of spreading a disease that went around.
Right.
And it's like, I don't want to talk to you either. Like, think, think whoever's above, like, let's go. 15 people in the store, everyone's 6 feet apart. No one's right on me. No one's next to me. No one's touching me. So,
Yeah,
but do it.
that feels really real. I feel like medical providers are often taught to try and build trust with you, right? But you build trust with an autistic person in a different way than you would with an holistic
Mhm.
person, right? Often it's small talk. It's like a little bit of like, I can't do small talk. I get a sense that you're very similar. Like, so how would you like somebody to build trust with you? I imagine
So,
you've mentioned treat me like a grown up, so that's a good place to start.
so besides, treating you like a human being who, maybe understands things a little differently, help me understand it at my own pace. I'm at a hospital. Just shove medication into my IV. Like, tell me
Mhm.
what it does. Like, let me understand what you're doing. Like, I get it. I'm not the medical professional here, but I would like to know instead of being like, oh, well, I think it's all in your head because
Right.
you're autistic. It's like amplified. I'm like, what?
It is so common to hear stories of people in general not being believed in the medical system and women in particular. And then
Mhm.
neurodivergent women, you're just so far off on the edge of the bell curve at that point where it seems almost normalized that people don't believe very basic stuff. about it's just obscene.
God forbid you're in pain. Oh, you're just here for pain meds.
Right.
Oh, hey, she's freaking out. Let's get the green scrubs out and, 5150 her while she's here.
Has that happened to you?
Once. So for me personally, and I don't know if other listeners know this, most medical institutions won't accept you if you have a CPAP machine. So if you have sleep apnea, it's because of the tubes, and they have to provide that.
Interesting.
And Kaiser, which is my medical provider, 5150 me. They were like, "You're here. You're here to stay." But because I had the sleep apnea machine, they're like, well, we can't transfer anywhere else because of the tubes. Like, what are you going to do about it? So I was there for my 72-hour hold and got to go home. I'm like, okay, thanks.
So for people who aren't in California and are not familiar with California Welfare and Institutions Code, what does 5150 mean?
It means you are involuntarily staying at a hospital or psych facility for 72 hours.
That sounds like a hell of an experience.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's a nightmare depending where you go.
Yeah.
And some places can treat you like a decent human being and like, we understand that you're in crisis and you need help. Other places are like, well, you said something that was just a little off.
Hmm.
So yeah. So long before I got Kaiser, I was institutionalized for 5150 because I was not feeling safe.
Hmm.
And was placed into an actual psych ward at a hospital for a week. I was told that I was only there for 72 hours and I would be released Friday.
Hmm.
Friday rolls around. I was told, oh, wait, you're ready to go home. Well, it's 5 o'clock on Friday and the doctors have left. So I'm like, okay, when do I get to go home? They're like, oh, well, the doctors left. So you're now 5250, which means they can keep you there as long as they want.
Hello, me again. So just for the sake of factual accuracy, I looked up the 5250, and on a 5250 that can hold you for 2 weeks, which in no way reduces the horribleness of Bella's experience, but I just wanted to make sure that we got the facts right on that one.
They're like, oh, well, the doctors left. So you're now 5250.
Essentially because of the clerical error and the doctors wanted to go home for the weekend.
And so Monday rolls around and the doctor shows back up and goes, oh, yeah, you're good to go home now. Thanks, buddy.
My goodness.
Thanks.
Do you have any examples of the opposite? Like, have you had an experience of like, hey, I feel really seen or heard or understood by this
Yeah.
healthcare provider?
A couple of times.
Mhm.
So I'll give you some great examples. So I talk about the negatives of some medical facilities and places like that, but there's some really positive vibes I've gotten. So I had an example. I was at getting a surgery for my appendix to be removed. It was a terrifying experience if you ever had to have an emergency surgery. So called 911. They showed up. Ambulance treated me like I was a VIP, lights and everything. We went. And it was just, your main hospital's closed. We're taking you to a different hospital. I'm like, okay. They do the CT, and the entire time I'm there, they're talking to me like I'm a normal human being, like I matter. And then I'm like, your appendix is going to burst. We need to get you either to surgery here or we need to transfer you to Kaiser. I'm like, okay, cool. Kaiser opens, they take me. They're like, we're going to try IVs first because surgery can be terrifying to people. So my appendix wasn't going to burst. It was
Right.
infected or irritated. And so they're like, we can try IVs and see if it's repaired because I was terrified of surgery. So
Right.
they were generally trying to resolve it.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, this is going to be so cool. This is going to be great. I don't need surgery. Like, I'm excited. And that they're really trying to work with me. And then it turns out they got to remove it, but they at least tried. They heard me
Right.
out. They listened, and unfortunately, it turned into surgery, which it was fine. Like, they talking to me the whole time before the process.
I
Like,
mean, the contrast between those experiences, right? And your story of being seen and heard, to me, sounds like just above the baseline.
yeah,
Like
and
that's
it's
not
sad.
right.
I had before I got Kaiser, I had a primary care doctor at a clinic here in San Francisco
Mhm.
who was new to me. Like, she was brand new, spot on, brand new to me. Like, I've never met her a day before in my life. And immediately, like, when I don't know you that well, I don't generally talk because I'm
Mhm.
worried and I freak out. So I use my phone to communicate, or I use my caregiver to communicate. I have options. And so my caregiver's talking to her, then I'm using my phone to talk to her, and she's like, this is weird. So she called adult protective supervision on my caregiver because she thought she was forcing me to do things. APS shows up, they do their interview, and they're like, yeah, no, you seem like you're safe here. And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I be? So it's sad that the comfort level is just right above the baseline.
Do you feel like your ability to kind of advocate for yourself has evolved over time? Have you like, or what tips would you give to others?
Don't be afraid of the no.
Mm.
Never be afraid if someone tells you no. And it's terrifying because I'm still afraid of it, but never ever be terrified of when they're going to tell you no.
What context does this come up?
So in the medical field, if you are at a hospital and they are trying to give you medications, ask what it is. If you are not comfortable with that medication, tell them no. Don't be afraid to tell people no. Um, it, it could be anything. Oh, I don't want Tylenol at this time. Okay, cool. I don't want ketamine. Or I don't want X, Y, and Z. Like, they don't have the right to put things in your body without your permission.
Mm.
So telling people no is kind of my thing. I'm a people pleaser, is what I've been told. So it happens. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, you guys know what you're doing. You're the medical professionals. But after experiencing some side effects of certain medications, it's like, I don't like this. And I know what my body doesn't like, and I know how I'm going to react. So I don't want this.
Yeah, that's really
So
good advice. So what I'm hearing is don't be afraid of the no isn't really about you hearing no, it's about you using your no and being like,
yeah,
I don't need this.
absolutely.
Yeah,
It's not, I'm never worried about you telling me. I'm
right.
worried about you understanding my no and accepting.
Do you
Like,
have a
oh,
sense of what's underneath that? Is it like a fear of not being liked, or is it like what lives under
I,
that fear?
I have not worked enough through my trauma to understand it.
Okay.
So
That is a
as of right
beautifully honest answer.
thing, as of right now, I don't know. I'd like to get
Okay.
to the answer of that. And when I do find that answer, I'll eventually tell you.
Do you have a sense what autism affirming care would look like for you? Like if you had an interaction with a doctor, like what would it look like if they actually were properly trained and knew what they were doing?
Well, one, they would talk to me like I'm talking with you in a normal, calm, and understanding voice. They would hear everything I had to say out, and they would try to understand it. They wouldn't just be like, "Oh, well, I think it's this," and just presume.
Mhm.
Well, your chart says this, and presume. Well, my chart said that because the last person did not listen to me.
Often medical care is given in like 15-minute increments if you're lucky, right?
When I was preparing for this study last week, we had a 2-hour phone call with the nurse that was going to be in charge of all the other nurses. And we were telling them, read our chart,
Mhm.
listen to what we're talking to you right now. We are preparing you for everything. And day one, not even 15 minutes in, they know nothing about me. I'm like, what was the point of that 2-hour phone conversation, which I hated, for this?
I think a lot of this challenge everybody faces, right? People never have enough time with their doctors, but then it gets so
Oh,
much worse because you have needs that are different than other people's.
so doctors don't listen.
Right.
They don't listen to listen, they don't listen to learn, they don't listen to anything. They hear what you say for a second, they hear what you tell the nurse, and then they walk away, and then they give you whatever they're gonna give you and have a good day.
Right.
I think I heard the study somewhere that at most you will spend with your doctor at an ER is about 15 minutes, maybe less, but most 15 minutes.
Yep.
And it's insane because then you're like, okay, well, you're in the nurse's hands. And the nurses communicate to your doctor, and your doctor may or may not understand what you're trying to tell the nurse. And it can be terrifying.
The system is built up in such a way that they trust every layer of communication up and down the chain, right? The doctors trust what the nurses put in the chart gets trusted, and it's somehow the assumption is that all the communication happens flawlessly. And if
Mhm.
there's something I know about communication, is that it rarely happens flawless.
Would you like to hear a nightmare story about a nurse I had?
Yes.
So, the main trauma hospital in San Francisco, it's called General Hospital here. My gallbladder was going to give out. So I've had 2 surgeries. And I was there because it was literally going to blow. And this nurse literally just would walk in for 5 minutes, unplug my call light, and walk out.
Yes.
She walked right in. She unplugged the light from the wall and walked right out. And I'm here screaming in pain. Someone finally walks in who was not my nurse. It was like a different like tech or something. And she plugs the call light back and I press it. Someone finally comes and I'm like, she unplugged my call. It
I
was
mean, that is
terrifying.
not just a bad experience. That sounds like
Oh yeah. Eventually, a couple of years later, after I talked with my caregiver who used to work in the medical field, she was like, "Yeah, you could have sued." I'm like, "Well, too late now, but whatever."
I mean, as you can tell from my accent, I'm not American, right? I feel like
Yeah.
it is lovely to have suing people as a backstop. But as a
Mhm.
autistic person, the stress involved with even thinking about dealing with the legal system is almost as bad as dealing with the medical system, right? I'm never going to sue anyone. It just doesn't make like putting myself through that level of stress to right or wrong. Goodness, that sounds like a lot of stress.
Well, we always, for at least me, I have a really strong sense of justice,
Mhm.
and a lot of people don't understand.
One of the
Yeah.
things I heard from you is that one of the reasons why you're able to navigate all of this in the first place is that you have a really good friend who's a caregiver. What happens in your mind if I ask you to imagine a world without this person looking after you?
I imagine the 2018 version of myself, before she fully came in and started acting as my caregiver, before she was more involved.
Mhm.
And then I go and think of the 2014 me, which was before I met her, and how disasterly that was. So before her, um, I barely had enough food to survive the month. I did not budget well. I'm terrible with money. You can ask my Fortnite account. um, no, it was so bad. I would buy game consoles and I'd be like, oh, I have buyer's remorse and I need food. So I'd take it back and sell it back to GameStop for like way less. And it would just be this thing. And it was a nightmare. I barely showered. Like it was horrific. But with them being in my life and participating as my caregiver, so they get paid to do it through the state, and like letting them have that power to do it, things have changed. I got Social Security disability. I have more accommodations. My housing's better. I have a fear of running out of food, as most people probably do. But because of her, I've never run out of food.
Because she
And
helps kind of keep you on the right track or keeps reminding.
I just give her all my money. So she takes care of
Right.
the money. So I trust her enough to do it. And I don't recommend that for everyone unless you truly trust that person. But I know she does not have a bone in her body to hurt me.
What a beautiful way for you to have found to navigate your life.
Yeah. So I don't have relationships. It's hard for me to do it. And they generally always are like, well, why do you have a caregiver? Like, blah, blah, blah. To me, she's the greatest person on the planet.
There is no such thing as like anybody who's completely perfect, right? But the thing is,
No.
if you get out of this friendship what you need from it, and she gets what she needs from it, that feels like a totally, I mean, you get to write the own rules for your own life, right?
So she has a full stable job taking care of me. I have a comfortable, happy life that is helped navigated by her. And we get what we need out of it. So
Yeah. I am really genuinely happy for you. That feels really powerful.
it really is. It's very freeing because I have to remind myself that 2018 me struggled a lot. 2014 me almost died. Um, and having her knowing that if I need something, it's a simple ask.
Yeah, I'm super happy for you. What is something that you wish that doctors or medical personnel understood about autistic folks?
That's a hard question because it's like the one wish rule, right? Okay.
Or a few things. I'm not gonna pin you down to just one.
If I can do 3, I would wish
Sure.
that they'd understand that what we're saying we know. When the doctor who with Kaiser was like, "Oh, I don't believe you're autistic. I don't have enough information to say so." My first immediate response was, "I know I am." He's like, "What?" I'm like, I wish doctors understood that we know more about ourselves than we lead on. You see
Mhm.
me 5 to 10 minutes a day. I see me every day of the week, 24/7. I know what I'm like when you're not around. I know what I'm like when no one else is watching. I have a lot of the traits, and I'm like, thank you. So that's like my biggest thing is understanding that we know what we're talking about when it comes to ourselves. We may
Yeah.
not always be able to describe it or advocate for it, but we know what we need. Understanding that we're flawed like everyone else. Just because you see the good doctor does not mean we're all super geniuses. Or because someone like myself is diagnosed at level 3, we're sitting here and having all the support needs we need. Like, it's a spectrum for a reason, right? It's not a linear line. There's no one end or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about this the other day, how a lot of autism diagnostic criteria aren't about what the experience is for you, but it's about how annoying you are to others, essentially.
My God, someone said it out loud.
Yeah. I mean, right?
Someone finally said it out loud. Okay. Finally.
But
Okay. Go ahead.
but that
I'm
feels
listening.
true, doesn't it? Or am I
Oh,
getting something wrong?
absolutely. No, absolutely. The reason I'm laughing is because you said the quiet part out loud.
I mean, I am
So
autistic.
I'm
This is
like,
what we do.
I'm right. It's like ABA therapy. It's changed in the last 20 years from when I went through it and it was abusive and horrible. Now it's probably more tame. How am I supposed to know? I'm an adult. I don't go through ABA therapy anymore.
Right.
But listening to the community, it's like, well, we don't support autism speaks. Like, they're evil. We don't do it.
Right.
And they're like, well, why? Or we don't use the puzzle piece, or we don't use Asperger's syndrome anymore.
That particular why is painful because you're one Google search away from the it's like I mean, not to kind of like it isn't hard to figure out why this is the wrong thing to say. It's like if you have one black friend, don't go and ask them what it's like to be black. Read a book or two and then ask if it's okay to ask a question, right? Yes, some of your friends may be open to share their lived experience with you, but it's kind of your job to do the bare minimum of research.
But it's absolutely insulting when I go and ask you that one question and I don't listen to your response and respect it. It's like, why'd you ask me?
Right. I didn't give
Right?
you the right answer, did I?
No, I didn't give you the answer you were looking for. Okay,
Yeah.
fight me.
Yeah, that's true. Soybe obviously is part of the medical system too.
Oh God.
Would you say something about what your experience has been in that universe?
Keep in mind, I was diagnosed when I was 4 and went through ABA when I was younger. This is early 1990s.
Mhm.
For me, it was forced masking. I was forced to sit there and try to appear normal, neurotypical, and to fit in with everyone else. And when I didn't do what they wanted to do, it was forced. It was absolutely like, well, you're going to do this now, and this is how you're going to do it. And it was insane on how horribly abusive it was.
Yeah. Do you have an example of a, behavior that they were trying to change in you?
They were trying to get me to talk for the longest time. I didn't speak my first words till I was 16.
Mhm.
And because of that, they're like, well, we're going to give you a treat. And then they'd go and squeeze my face and they're like, this is how you make that movement. Like, they would sit there and like make the face movements with me and like force my face to do it. And I'm like, this is very uncomfortable. I don't like
Right.
this.
And
So
I'm guessing you weren't unable to move your face, you just didn't want to move your face.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with my face. I'm like, okay,
Right.
well, I just didn't communicate by talking. That's
Yeah.
okay. And it's like, now if you scroll through TikTok and you see these autism parents on there, and there's no shame against being an autism parent. We're glad that you're out there and I'm happy that you're there. And if you're listening, I love you and I appreciate you that you support your child, but understand that the community does not appreciate you associating yourself with the identity unless you yourself have that, right?
Mhm.
So just wanted to make that PSA. But if you see it and it's like, well, my child recently was nonverbal for a long time and we forced them in through ABA therapy and now they can talk and now they're cured. And it's like, autism's not a disease,
There's nothing to cure.
right? It's like, okay, well, you got your child to talk, great for them, but not every autistic person is that same way.
Right.
So,
My impression of the current implementation of ABA is that it's mostly around the child's own harm reduction. If you are stimming by smacking your head against a wall, maybe smack your head against a pillow. That is the
yeah.
adjustment they're trying to make. And I'm like, you know what? That seems like a reasonable thing to do because, well, giving
Mhm.
yourself a concussion isn't going to help anybody in any way.
Oh, no. And uh, so I have nothing against ABA today. When I was growing up, yes. And depending on where you're at in the world, it may look like how it looked like when I was growing up. So not
Yeah.
every place is the same. But from places that I know of in San Francisco, so I have friends who were SPED teachers and stuff like that who understand that the experiences used to be traumatizing. And it's now, oh, well, here's a reward for not biting your nails.
Right.
Uh,
Which you do that with any kids, basically. It's just a
yeah,
behavior you're trying to train or discourage that is different.
yeah. And it's not trying to completely mask it anymore. It's like accepting where they're at on the spectrum and getting
Yeah.
people to meet them there.
I mean, that sounds like at least a little bit of progress.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's not a ton, but it's some. And as long as you keep moving in the right direction.
I'm
Yeah.
curious, do you have a sense that there is other reasons for hope within or without the medical system in terms of what is being normalized as a type of care? Like, are you seeing any improvement?
I honestly wish I could say yes.
Hmm.
I sincerely, desperately want to say yes to you. But unfortunately, so I live off of Social Security disability because I cannot hold a job. Like, as I told you
Yep.
before, the longest job I had was 24 hours. I know not a lot of people can. I get less than $1,200 a month to survive.
Hmm.
That's not a lot. But as far as medical stuff right now, no, because they're still grading off of RADs or testing off of like older documentations that are just meant for children and meant
Right.
for little white cis boys who were originally diagnosed back in the 80s. And nothing is updated to how they test and diagnose today.
So this is
When
where I'm a little bit curious.
if you get diagnosed today, you go, there's a couple of different processes. The process I went through was a couple of questionnaires that ask you some very in depth how you feel questions. And
Hmm.
then it's data gathering and it's like a clinical interview. That's how I was diagnosed. And this was literally back in July. So, and I asked about the leveling system and he goes, yeah, no, you have level 3. And I'm like, well, why do we use the levels? He goes, it's just so parents and like other people can understand. I'm like, I don't, why would my parent need to understand? I am
Right.
32. He
Yeah.
goes, well, it's just how we do it. And then realizing he used the children's way of doing it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I'm curious if there's anything you wish I had asked you.
Is there anything that you really wanted to ask that you just hesitated on?
That's a good question. I don't hesitate much. I like my background is as a journalist, right? I'm just like pathologically curious, right? I am interested in learning about what your journey has been. And I'm also recognizing your journey was your journey, right? I imagine you are completely unique in how your experience was. But what I do hope is that listeners can identify with and gain a deeper understanding of what your particular path through all of this has been.
When I talk to people and especially if I'm talking about my experience, I tend to always iterate that I'm only speaking from my perspective. Because I can't talk from yours. I don't know what
Right.
you've been through. I don't know the shoes or the miles you've gone through. I can tell you about the time I walked 50 miles down a freeway because I was eloping. I can tell you about the time I was human trafficked for years and how that was a terrible experience. I can talk to you about my own personal experiences, but I can't talk to you about yours. It's very unique because to me, it's how I see the world.
Mm,
And, there could be someone out there who has had great medical experiences out. There could be someone who does not have a caregiver who doesn't need them to help them navigate things. And that's great. But for me, that's what I need.
instead of trying to
Yeah.
make yourself do things that aren't for you.
Finding your support needs is a lifelong journey.
Hmm.
And it's really fun when you find what you need and having someone understand that's what you need. Or understanding yourself and being able to ask for that space of, hey, I can't go out in public without my headphones. Okay, cool. Go out in public with your headphones. Do you?
Right.
Oh, I like a certain type of clothing. Cool. Wear that certain type of clothing. Go ahead, have fun.
Yeah, totally. No, that's super important. Hey, I want to be respectful of your time, and I want to round up this interview with the same two questions I ask everybody. The
Yeah,
first one is, what do you wish people understood about autism that they typically don't?
it's a spectrum. Just because your child does not communicate or has a level or is told something functioning does not
Mm.
mean it's the same for everyone else who's that way. It's very important to understand it's a spectrum and you
Yeah,
never, ever grow out of it. Autism's a lifelong thing.
beautiful. Thank you. And I'm curious, do you have a story of a time when you were seen and loved exactly the way you needed to be seen and loved?
Yes. For me, there was um, a horrific accident back in 2016. I was attacked right on Market Street, coming home. I was attacked in the back of the head with a hammer.
Oh God.
I survived, but got like 10 staples. It was bad. And no one, my mom, no one was answering the phone. And so I got my caregiver on the line and she showed up in a minute. She was like in her pajamas because it's like really late at night. And she's out of it because she apparently was sleeping. And only thing on her mind was me. Only thing she cared about was me. She would not let me ask her questions. She wouldn't let me focus on anything else except for her questions to me. You okay? What happened? Like, and when realizing I was getting unregulated and overstimulated, she would sit there and she would calm me down. She'd ask me questions about like, what's your favorite animal? Even though she knows all of those questions. She would ask me questions about what Lego set have you recently built? And she knows because she bought me the Lego set, but it's the questions that get me distracted because like, what's your favorite color? What are you doing tomorrow? Like trying to get me out of my own.
Hmm.
And it's that amount of care and that amount of love that I know she does. Because initially she didn't start off with a lot of hours doing my care and then eventually turned into more and more. And she's never asked more money. She's always just there. So for me, that's unconditional love.
Beautiful. Bella, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. This is absolutely a gift to me and to our listeners, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to ask some really good, hard hitting questions. And to your listeners, I hope if you have questions, ask. And never be afraid to ask questions, but also never be afraid to say no.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Autistic FM. You can find us on TikTok on Autistic FM or on the internet on autistic.fm. Autistic FM is produced and hosted by me, Haje Camps. If you know somebody who might be a great guest on the podcast, don't hesitate to get in touch. You can email us on hello@autistic.fm or reach out via the website or on TikTok. See you next week.